Let's get started here. All right, nice to meet everyone. How's everyone doing today?
Base.
Base, red pilled, and base.
Red pill.
Actually, I was lying to you guys. All right, I am a fraud. I am a liar because I'm not actually Moose Byers. I'm actually Moose Byers, the ultimate lecturer, high school lecturer. And we're gonna get started with this. So first of all, we got 3 things we're gonna answer by the end of this lecture. We're gonna answer what is Danganronpa and who made it, the order of the game's lore, and finally, what is the main themes and what is it trying to tell us? What is Danganronpa trying to tell us with its weird meta-narrative, narrative, all right? And I feel like we have to get started with the main man himself, Kodachi, or what's his name again? Togashi, something like that.
Tagami?
Yeah. Any questions? Any first impressions of Danganronpa? Any things you implications you have about it? Yes.
I unfortunately only know about Danganronpa through the little bit of what you told me and the memes that I find of it in the Discord. I love the memes of the Discord. It gives me some context of how the game might navigate.
Yeah, the memes are pretty spicy. There's some spicy memes. Mostly you combine Danganronpa with previously existing memes to make them even funnier. Yeah. You mix it with Burger King foot lettuce and it's the funniest shit of all time. Any other questions before I truly get started? No? Okay. So first we gotta talk about our creator, Kokachi, some shit like that. He works at this company called Squaresoft, right? And Squaresoft is only known to make ports. They make ports of Dragon Ball games to PC, and that's all they're known for.
Wait, you said Squaresoft?
Oh, I mean fucking Spike.
I had to think about that.
Spikesoft, yeah, thank you, Mr. Smith, thank you. But yeah, Spikesoft. All they do is make Dragon Ball Z ports to the PC, and Kodachi's I have an idea, because throughout his life he's been really interested in mysteries and detective shit. He was a big fan of Case Closed and stuff like that. Started writing his own kind of mystery stories, and he was thinking about getting into the market using Spikesoft, the company he works at. So what he did, yes, Mr. Smith, do you have a question?
What did he work in? During Spikes, so he just helped out port stuff?
Yeah, he was just a porter.
Okay.
Yeah, so then he talked to one of the close executives he knew, and they threw some emails about a visual novel / detective game about high schoolers being trapped in a high school. Sounds pretty familiar to Danganronpa if you know about it. It goes all the way back, the prototype of it was called 15 Survivor, right? Or 15 Denial, something like that. And already all 15 students that we see in the base game of Danganronpa were there, right? From day one. So Kodachi already knew what he wanted to make with it. Even one of the twists was already implemented for the story. So he was thinking about Danganronpa for at least a hot minute, A hot minute he was thinking about this story. So he gets a working prototype going, right? And he's visual novels are everywhere, right? There's the Fate series, there's all kinds of shit you have to compete with. So he's I'm gonna make mine kind of special. So that's why he has the interesting art made by the sculptor. They get a sculptor to make anime, and the aesthetic's very interesting. It doesn't look like a lot of shit out there. He also changed the blood instead of red to pink, as a stylistic choice, and to lower the game's age rating, So it's a double whammy, a double whammy with that shit. So essentially, he gets this working prototype going, and he shows the higher-ups in Spikesoft, and they're listen, this ain't creative, this is some cuck beta shit, alright, we've seen this all before, visual novels, I sleep. I like the idea, but this is only going to sell 40,000 copies, maybe 20,000 copies if we're not lucky. And 20,000 is nightmare scenario if you're this studio. Like, you need to at least get to 100,000 for it to be, like, a kind of popular IP. And this is, like, back in the day, when, like, you know, 1 million is a whole lot of shit. Right? Yes?
So is this relatively speaking towards, like, in Japan?
Yeah, this is, like, during, like, the
Okay.
PS Vita kind of age, you know? And the Vita didn't sell well, so, like, people didn't really
Oh,
project really good numbers for this game. Because it used to be, like, only on the PS Vita. And then he was like, you know, he was pretty discouraged. He's like, bro, I went through all this trouble making it unique, giving it pink blood, making the characters look like sculptures. Fuck! So he decided to restart again, you know, and totally cut the game. Like, cut the game in half with a fucking scalper, like a doctor. He's gonna erase any type of visual novel idea from this game. And he strictly called it a mystery action game, right? That's what it is. No visual novels, no nothing. It's strictly an action game with mystery elements. So what he did is he was inspired by live streaming. Because if you don't know, Japan has this equivalent of like live streaming or YouTube called Nico Nico Television, right? Or Nico Nico something. And essentially, all the comments aren't in like a chat at like the bottom left or the bottom right. The chat is on the screen. So like when people start saying shit, you literally see it on the picture of the stream you're watching. And he was inspired by that. So when anybody makes like an argument in the game, you see it in front. And you get a gun and you shoot their argument, right? And he made it kind of like a first-person shooter mystery game and kind of kept that like genre idea of like an action mystery game. So after showing all that, after like painstakingly remaking the game almost, he shows it to the executives in Spikesoft and they're like, bruh, this is too gory, this is too cringy, we can't do this, this is only gonna sell 20,000 copies, B. We ain't doing this. And then again, Togashi, he was so like, bro. He wanted to square up, man. He was in fisticuffs. Like, he was ready to fight for this idea. And a lot of the staff members in Spikesoft wanted the idea as well. So after some pretty tough negotiations, Danganronpa is finally released. And it sold a whopping 20,000 copies. Their worst nightmare happened, and it didn't sell shit. But because the game was so weird, so wacky, and so like no one has done this shit before, it just spread through word of mouth alone, because there was like no marketing behind it. And it finally sold 100,000 copies, and we're able to get sequels to this game that we all know and love. Yes, Mr.
So you said like PS Vita area?
Yeah.
Wasn't it on the PSP?
PSP? No, PS Vita.
PS Vita.
PS Vita.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was on PS Vita.
Okay.
Because, like, then it would have been around the, like, Persona 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Persona 3 is around the PSP. So, that's, like, the whole backstory behind Danganronpa, how it, like, almost died. And this story doesn't end. I'm going to put a pin in this, because the story continues. Because Togashi, you know, I view him as, like, this really cool underdog, you know. He wants to, like, express his creative ideas. And eventually, at first, his obstacle was the higher-ups, you know, the suits on top. But now, he's kind of going against the audience, the fandom of Danganronpa, right? To make a new IP. And it's really fucking interesting how that whole thing flipped. But I'm about to get into the lore. So that's it for the, you know, origin of Spikesoft and Danganronpa.